sure that's going first. Welcome to Bracket Bash, the podcast. We take a bracket of 32, 64, 128 or more and banter our way down to a winner. This week, we have a very lovely guest. We have David. David, how you doing there, sir?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
And of course, I'm your host, Freddie Fisher. We are talking about the second part of Disney Owns. Last week, Men in Tights ended up going through the entire thing without a vote against it, which also means if it goes through the finals today with whoever will be facing Men in Tights in the finals today without a vote against it, it will be official as the second pearl necklace recipient that we've ever had during this show. Out of this is episode 199, so we've gone through a lot of stuff when it comes to that. But you guys know the rules and regulations, but just in case, I'm going to go ahead and start us off. Pass the parcel. Pass the parcel is in play this week. However, the audience vote, who has been voting all week, just like before, will not have the honor of doing pass the parcel. They have their own vote automatically in there, but we do have pass the parcel. You could use it as many times as you want because there's just three of us here. And pass the parcel actually comes down to Nancy this week because Nancy was good enough to give me her notes on what she wanted to say and how she had it ranked and everything else along those lines. I gotta make sure to pull that up real quick so it's not lost. There it is. You can use that many times as you want. Steal a vote is also in play. If you happen to steal somebody's vote, you can use this one time during the game up and into, including the quarter final round. That is round 3. I will give you notice when this comes to it. If you happen to use this, whatever you vote will move on because, of course, that would make it 2-1 no matter what. And that's, of course, how math works. And blown a load, as always, the oldie but the goodie. If you happen to blow your load, you will always hear this sound. Love that. And that means you're going last. If you're one of the first to go and don't want to be one of the first to go, blow your load. Somebody else blows their load after you, you are no longer going last. You're going directly before them, and so on and so forth. The audience does not have these lifelines, but myself and David do. We'll go ahead and get started off this one. We are going to start on the my personal favorite time of year, and that is Christmas. It is either going to be the 1994 version of Miracle on 34th Street or Muppets Christmas Carol. I am I'm not a huge fan of Muppets Christmas Carol. I'm sorry to everybody out there who absolutely loves this movie. It's a staple for them for Christmas. I enjoy it, but it's much like Star Wars and stuff like that. People call it a 10. It's more of a 6. It's a good movie. It's just not what people think it is. Miracle on 34th Street, as well. I actually think that this remake, and I don't like a lot of remakes, even though we do a show kind of dedicated to it. Miracle on 34th Street is probably one of my favorite remakes of all time. Richard Attenborough, who plays Santa Claus in this version, also played in Jurassic Park, and of course I've seen Jurassic Park first, and it's really hard to see him going from this bad guy to freaking Santa Claus, but it's actually kind of fun to watch. Mara Wilson, of course, is an absolute grace in the movie as well, and there's some other really intriguing characters. So I'm gonna go with Miracle on 34th Street on this one. David,
I
Miracle on
have
30.
to I have to disagree with you on this one because I personally am a big fan of the original Miracle on 34th Street, and honestly, I feel like the remake itself kind of misses a lot of the charm from the original. In my opinion, Muppets Christmas Carol is probably one of the best adaptations of the Christmas Carol book, and the fact that the actor who plays Scrooge just plays it completely straight, even though that he's not really talking to real people. Just makes it all the more worth. So I'm going to go with Muppets Christmas Carol.
It gets a vote. The audience also is gonna in a looks like a 13 vote difference on this one. Muppets Christmas Carol gets a vote from the audience as well. Nancy from Miracle on 34th Street. Uh, Trying to find it on my list real quick. Ranked it at number 5, and she replies, I love all things Christmas, especially Christmas movies, and this is a classic for a reason. Angus says the '90s one with Mara Wilson is far superior. So Angus actually agrees with me. Oddly enough, David starts us off. Is it Titanic or The Princess Bride?
Princess Bride. I mean they're both romance movies at their core. The problem is that I'm not a big fan of James Cameron. For me, he's very hit or miss. I love Terminator 2 and his documentaries like Ghosts of the Abyss. But the films that try way too hard to be romantic or to prove a point end up falling flat. Um, in terms of The Princess Bride, I hear a lot of people say that this film's overrated. It's not. It really is not. Every single piece of praise that that film gets, it deserves. So my vote goes to Princess Bride.
Gets the audience agrees with you in a 47 vote difference, so a very wide margin on that one. And of course, Princess Bride is one of my top 10 movies of all time. And for somebody who deals with a podcast that have to deal with movies, we have seen a lot of them. That is high praise coming from me. So, Princess Bride moves on to the next round. Audience starts us off. It is either going to be it's a Nicolas Cage matchup on this one. It's either going to be National Treasure or Gone in 60 Seconds. In a 20 vote difference, National Treasure gets that vote. I'm a fan of Gone in 60 Seconds. Don't get me wrong, it's an okay movie, but it's not really it's not something that you remember well. It's just one of those things you watch and you're like, okay, it was a movie. That was a movie. National Treasure is one of those things that you kind of you watch multiple times just so you can find all the not really Easter eggs, but you can get the clues along with them and everything else. So I appreciate National Treasure more than Gone in 60 Seconds. Is it Gone in 60 Seconds or National Treasure there, sir?
I would have to agree with you. National Treasure to me is a more memorable movie than Gone in 60 Seconds.
And that means it goes three and out. Nancy, by the way, for Titanic says if you haven't if you haven't dramatically saying my heart will go on once in your life, have you even lived? Cue Angus singing in the background, and of course for Gone in 60 Seconds, way at the bottom of the list, down at number 27. Says add this to the pile of Nick Cage movies I have seen, but can't really tell you anything about. National Treasure moves on. I start this one off. It is either going to be Alien or Predator.
Oh God, that's honest. That's honestly a really difficult choice because they're both fantastic films, but in my opinion, they're fantastic films for very different reasons. Because Predator feels more like an action film, and Alien feels more like a horror film.
Yeah,
Um,
I I'm gonna go for Predator on this one. Just I can't remember the guy's name, but just for the guy who is literally there dry shaving his face. For anybody who has ever done that, you know it takes grit. No pun intended. It takes major grit to do that. Just to dry shave your face, you need some kind of moisture. It's gonna do major damage. And he's just sitting there, stone faced, doing it, not a care in the world. I'm gonna have, and I'm not a huge fan. I'm not gonna say I'm not a huge sci-fi fan because I am. I'm just not a fan of the Alien series in general.
hang on one second. I don't know why, but my headphones just turned off. All right, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you just fine. I went with Predator. What say you?
I think I'm going to go with Alien because even though that Predator is a fantastic film, I feel like Alien kind of redefined what horror can actually be. Um, because because at its core, Alien is a slasher film, but it's a slasher film in a very different way and a very effective way. Almost like almost like you're trapped here. You know there's no escape, and it's only a matter of time before you're hunted down and killed.
It's the entire "Welcome to the Jungle" song. Like you're gonna die.
Yeah.
Somebody I went to a semi-pro wrestling show last night, and somebody had that as their theme music. And the first thing as a podcaster that went through my head is like, how do you get the rights to this?
Chances are they didn't. They probably
Yeah,
did
that
the ECW way.
I say that's what they said too. Another, I was talking to a previous pro wrestler, talking to Simon Gotch about this one, and he says it's like you really, as long as you don't put it on TV somewhere, which these aren't filmed, if you don't put it on TV, nobody's gonna say anything unless somebody wants to be a Karen and reports it. They're not gonna say anything about it. Yeah, but unfortunately, ours is recorded and put out for posterity, so
Yeah.
we have to get rights or figure out somebody who's not really doing anything, not big enough to worry about that. So,
Yeah.
uh, by the way, Nancy, I keep wanting to say Kate. Nancy agrees with you. She actually had Alien at number 6 out of 32. So, as a lover of the sci-fi genre, this movie is an iconic perfection. Sigourney Weaver is fantastic and has some genuine jump scares that don't feel unnecessary. Aliens, the second one, isn't bad either, but went downhill after that. Also, Disney World's ex uh, extraterrestrial terror being all caps alien encounter ride was inspired by this movie. The '90s truly was a wild time, man. Predator, however, moves on 2-1 to the next round because the audience vote with it, as well as a 7 vote difference. David starts us off. Either the Patriot or Kingsman.
Kingsman. I and I have to admit straight off the bat, I have not seen Patriot, so it has to go with Kingsman by default.
Kingsman get the vote. The audience is going to go for Patriot in a 4 vote difference, so it's actually rather close. I'm going to go for Kingsman on this one, making it 2-1. Okay, yeah, 2-1 on that one. Patriot, as far as Nancy goes, all the way down at the bottom again, which means it is number 29 out of 32. She says, I watched this in 7th grade American history. I think I was too busy writing Harry Potter fan fiction or something because I just can't recall. And I just recall that Lucius Malfoy was a bad guy, which says a lot because that's, well, I mean, they're both kind of bad characters. So Kingsman moves on 2-1 to the next round. Audience starts us off. Audience. Horror movie matchup. It's either The Menu or Ready or Not. The fact that both of these are now owned by Disney is still laughable to me because they're just definitely not what Disney does. In a 6 vote difference, however, Ready or Not gets the audience vote. I love both of these movies, to be perfectly honest. I'm going to go with Ready or Not just because it's... Ready or Not is cheeky. Like, it's a cheeky horror movie. It's not even a horror movie. It's kind of a slasher film, but Ready or Not, for anybody out there who doesn't know, this woman's getting married, but before she can get married to her husband, they have to play an old-fashioned game. They happen to pull out hide and seek. Unfortunately, during this entire time, instead of playing the normal hide and seek game, her family, including her future husband, is trying to actually kill her. And they have some pretty cool death scenes. The way people blow up at the end of the movie is actually really cool too. And the final scene, which again doesn't really give spoilers away, of her sitting out on the courtyard, just sitting there smoking a cigarette as the fire trucks come along, is just mint. So I'm gonna go with Ready or Not on this one. David, finish this
I'm
up.
I'm gonna agree with you. Ready or Not, in my opinion, is actually um, not necessarily one of the funniest horror films out there, but any horror film that's able to get humor effectively gets my respect.
Which means it's gonna go 3 and out on this one. I'm trying to find the menu on her list, and I can't find. There it is. Okay. So 21 for the menu for Nancy on this one, and she says the menu. I cannot put this movie higher because I have not actually seen it, and it is not a genre I typically watch. However, I love the concept, and I've heard amazing things. The Menu is a good movie. It really is. It's just not. It's one of those movies that you're gonna have to go into it not expecting anything, because there's just the plot line to the movie is just weird.
Yeah, and that was basically my problem when I saw the menu because I went in there overhyped and ended up getting disappointed by it.
I mean, film wise, acting wise, the actual nuances of the story is pretty cool too. But it's just not. It's not your typical flair,
Yeah,
and it I think it's highly ahead of its time. So I got to give it to that. Ready or Not moves on though. However, to the next round, three and out. I start this one up. It is either going to be Dead Poets Society or Fight Club. I am a Robin Williams fan. I absolutely love Robin Williams. I really hate to vote against him. I'm not going to vote against him on this one. Dead Poets is one hell of a movie. I got to give Fight Club credit though, because one of my favorite lines of any movie ever has got to be, "I haven't been fucked like that since grade school," and it's just completely out of left field. And it's we did a quotes tournament this last January for my birthday, and we do it every year. It's gonna be coming up in a couple months. That was one of the quotes that got really far, and I'm glad it did. I didn't even pick that one out. Somebody else did, and it made me laugh. So Dead Poets gets my vote off of that one. David, Dead Poets or Fight Club?
I'm gonna go with Fight Club. Even though I do love Dead Poets, but Fight Club to me was just a more entertaining film.
Uh, Got to find this one real quick. Why is it that I cannot? There it is. Okay, way up the freaking top. All right. So Fight Club moves on 2-1 to the next round because the audience in this respect went for Fight Club as well in a 4-vote difference. Nancy replies, Dead Poet Society. Gosh, this movie has always made me cry, but even more nowadays since losing the legendary Robin Williams, who was such a good doing both comedy and drama. And this is one of those movies that he truly showcases talent at both. I can't wait to cuddle up with a blankie and watch this movie this fall. So my sentiments exactly. It's really good in this movie. Fight Club moves on 2-1 the next round. David starts us off. David, last up in the first half of round one, is it Con Air or Machete?
Oh God, that's like choosing between your own children.
You still have lifelines.
I know I have lifelines. I just want to save them for right now. Um, so part of the reason why this is so tough for me is because Con Air is the definition of so stupid but so awesome. Um, and when it comes to Machete, Robert Rodriguez is probably one of the most talented directors of all time. And even when he does like an intentional B movie like this, it's still awesome. Um, I don't know. I think I have to go with Machete. Probably because I think Machete's probably a better made film than Con Air is.
Audience, by the way, is going to go for Con Air on this one. It is a 14-vote difference. However, making me the tie-breaking decision, I'm going to go with Machete on this one just because it's so cheesy that it's hysterical, and it's not meant to be, but it's just hysterical, and I love it. And for to have a character, and I think Machete's only been like 2 or 3 movies at this point, and the second and third one weren't really that good, but the first one is the one that's most memorable. But to have people refer to him as Machete instead of his actual name is still it's just great. So and it's not like he hides his name, but I still when we're talking about because I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Uh, But when we talk about him, I don't call him by his name. I call him Machete or Machete
Mhm.
because it's just fun to do. So
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Con Air does not move on. Machete does move on. However, Con Air for Nancy, 20 looks like 28. Yep. Uh, Con Air says C number 25, which is the Sixth Sense. Uh, I, I, I see 26 years worth of memes. Because, yeah, you got to put the bunny back in the box. Machete moves on 2-1 to the next round. We'll be right back right after this break. Before I became a podcaster, I never imagined that requests for I. Before it, I still can't do it. Before I became a podcaster, I never imagined that all these requests for 5-star reviews did anything important. I was very wrong about that. But being the bastards that we are, we're not going to expect you to give up those 5 stars with nothing in return. But I'll trade you for it. You send us a letter, a question, or anything else you deem necessary along with those 5 stars. We'll not only give you a shout out on the show, but read your submission live on air. We like to call this our Thank You To review. If you want to be part of the Thank You To review, send it to our email address at bracketty2r at yahoo.com. That is BRACKETTY, the number 2, then R at yahoo.com to get in. Not only works for this show, but if you want to be a guest on any of our other shows on the ABC podcast channel. Today's letter comes from Rosalie. Miss Rosalie Baker says, "My bastards, I send you some love. This show is amazing, so amazing, so amazing. In fact, that I can get past the sound issues. Hashtag support the indies. 5 stars on Spotify. Signed, Rosalie Baker. My question: what is one absolutely stupid thing that you will always believe in, even if you can't prove it?"
Uh, for,
Do you have anything for this one?
so sorry. It's one of those things where I know what I want to say. It's just I don't know how to say it. For for me, it's the idea that capitalism always works. I because I've seen the 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 historical precedent to show that there are a lot of flaws in the capitalist theory, but I don't know. There's just something uh, about like state socialism that scares the hell out of me. And I know that this is fear over. I know that this is over logic, and I know I should be going more towards logic, but I just can't shake that.
Well, and I hear people talk about how they say socialism will never work, and it won't on a large scale. If you have a lot of people to take care of, it won't. But look at the Amish communities. That's pretty much a self-sustained socialistic so, socialistic community, and they do wonders with it. It's
Yeah.
so like it will work, but for it to work, we're gonna have to give up a lot. I don't think a lot of people are wanting to do that, and I don't blame them. I wouldn't want to do it. There's a whole bunch of things that I will never know how to do. I don't I, I, I don't know the inner workings of computers and stuff like that. So if I would have a problem with my computer, and there's not somebody in my area that would know how to do it, I would have to find out. I would have to figure it out myself, or come up with some kind of form of payment to have somebody to pay somebody to do it. And even then, I'm pretty sure that the entire Amish community still work on like a barter system, which is capitalistic but in a much smaller scale. So they found a way to do both and still function. It's just not as it's not to the ability that you can do it with millions of people at all at one time. But I'm not going to say that I disagree with you either.
Mhm.
So my the one amazingly stupid thing that I believe in, but I can't prove. I believe famous people get podcasts just to prove that they can, not because they're actually talented. And it annoys me because I see I I was watching a post on Facebook the other day. I watched it 6 times before I knew what the hell they were doing. And they have 150. They had 157,000 views. But you get some really good content out there from people on the independent network. So Rosalie, thank you for the entire for supporting the independents out there as well. You get some really good content out there that you can't find because there's people who are they're famous, quote unquote, but really don't have anything new to say.
I
So
I also think that part of the reason why they do podcasts is mostly like like it's sort of like the Hulk Hogan Ric Flair syndrome where they just want to keep clinging and clutching to whatever fame they have so that they don't end up fading away. So 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 in a way to keep them in the public view for just a little bit longer, they set up podcasts just to let people know, hey, I still exist. I'm still relevant.
well, I always said too that if I ever became famous enough that I had the ability to actually communicate with fans, like after I'm done famous, because doing it while you're famous is really difficult to do because people are going to take something out of context and your fame's going to go away quicker because somebody didn't think enough. And then when other people don't think enough or don't look at what actually happened, it's a good way to ruin somebody else's career. So as long when you're done with your career anyway, but still have the ability to go back and talk personally with some of the fans out there, which is why I love going to like independent shows that have some of your previous wrestlers, previous famous wrestlers out there. Last night I talked to the Godfather for a bit,
Mhm.
Christy Hemme, which for all you guys around my age was former Playboy Playmate cover as well. Um, signing copies there too. So if you had one, like she would have signed it for you. Simon Gotch, I talked to him last night. I had a Spaceball shirt on. We ended up talking 15 minutes about the new movie coming out, and it's really cool to do that because you get to meet these people and it's always fun.
Mhm.
So I always figured that if I ever became famous podcasting, which I know I'm not going to, but I just do this for fun. But if I became famous, when I'm done being famous, I'm going to take the opportunity to actually have this conversation with people that brought me there, or the people who are still keeping my name around afterwards. So I hope a lot of your previously famous people out there are doing that for the same reasons, but I also believe people that are, I mean, they're still famous. They're just doing it to do it. This is a bad example because their podcast is actually really good, but uh, Travis Kelsey and his brother as well have a good show. I got to listen to a little bit of it when they had the entire Taylor Swift. My daughter is a huge Swiftie, so I listened to it. Their banter back and forth is actually pretty good, so I can't really say anything about that. But they also get millions upon millions of views because of their name, and we don't have that ability, even though our content is either just as good or better. We also don't have the money for soundboards and stuff like that either, which our voice gets drowned out in a lot of the sound quality issues. So I'm I'm aware that sometimes you got to spend money to make money, but if you don't have the money to spend in the first place, it's actually kind of hard to get hurt. So that is my uh, one stupid thing that I will always believe in, if even if I can't exactly prove it. So Rosalie, thank you for your question. If anybody else out there wants to be like Miss Rosalie Baker out there and become part of uh, the thank you to review, it is, I should have drank cold soda instead of warm soda today. I'm burping. Be part of the thank you to review. It is bracket BRACKETT the number 2 then Y at yahoo.com to get in. Not only works for this show, but any other show on the ABC podcast channel. Welcome back for the second part of the second half of round 1. Audience starts us off on this one. It is either going to be Maze Runner or Fern Gully. In a 5-vote difference off of this one, Maze Runner gets that vote. I'm going to give it to Fern Gully on this one. I've never enjoyed the Maze Runner series in the first place. Even the books I didn't enjoy. We had to read them in school. The Fern Gully, though, like, it was such a cute movie. It's one of these movies that I wish I could find more often to see if I can get my kid involved with it. But I also know that if my kid watches it, he's going to watch the same movie half a dozen times a day. And even though I love it, I don't think I could do that. So I kind of want to leave my past in the past and enjoy my memories of it more than anything else. Is it Fern Gully or Maze Runner there, sir?
Uh, that's a tough one because I kind of have mad feelings on both of them. But if I had to choose one of them, I'd have to go with Ferngully. If if nothing else, um, that it promotes a good message, even if it kind of gets muddled.
Fern Gully moves on 2-1 to the next round. Nancy on this side for Maze Runner says, it's a solid dystopian film that came out at a time when the market was saturated with them, but was still able to stand apart slightly. So, which is true. Like there was a couple of them that were all out in the same time. I just, and do you ever notice that films nowadays, like movies, whenever they look at the future, it's never a good future.
Yeah, I have actually noticed that because around that time, I believe that Twilight was blowing up. So they were like, "What other young adult novels can we quickly buy and make into a film?" Um, and I feel like Maze Runner kind of falls in that category. And shortly after that, it was comic book movies, and then the market got oversaturated with them. And and yeah, th- things are kind of going downhill for them.
Well, I think the last movie that I remember where the future was bright was either, and they're both Disney movies, either the Tomorrowland or Meet the Robinsons. That were the only two that went in the future that it was actually bright. Wally even showed a, like, just a not war torn, like a completely destroyed Earth and everything
Yeah.
else, and a bunch of fat people wearing Crocs and just uh, so. But you never really see the world in a positive light in movies anymore in the future.
Yeah, yeah, I kind of agree. I kind of agree with that mindset. And I think that mostly has to deal with the fact that whenever there's like a utopian setting, like Metropolis is probably the most pitch perfect example of why it's difficult to do a true utopian film, because usually whenever there's a utopian setting, there's always something uh, dirty happening underneath.
Mm-hmm.
Like in terms of Metropolis, it was the people underneath the city just making it work and basically being like, I wouldn't necessarily say slaves, but like kind of in that vein.
Well, if I remember right, like Star Trek uh, had an entire storyline where somebody tried to pay with with money or something like, or try to steal something or pay with something, and they're like, yeah, we don't do that anymore, because once somebody created this one thing, the entire monetary system collapsed because nobody needed it, and now people who work, they don't work for pay, they work for the actual to help mankind instead of helping themselves.
Yeah.
And that was the last good storyline that I've actually heard where people in the future are there. It's more of a mankind situation instead of a self self indulgent.
I think that's also what Gene Roddenberry was trying to get across with Star Trek, where it's where it's like the future can be bright. We just need to work towards it.
Yeah. I always tell people it's like if you want if you want to change your world, you have to start small. Start with your house, your own household. Make sure that your kids grow up to be good people, and once you're satisfied with that, start with your neighborhood, then your town, then your county, state, country, world. Just start doing things that affect your world. And if everybody does stuff to affect their own world, even small things, of like little by little, this world will start getting better. And if you get enough people to be proud and be out there doing good things, you'll have the people out there doing bad things or being mediocre things. Like,
Mhm.
for instance, throwing cigarette butts on the ground. You see people do it all the time. And it's not really something that's a major issue because the majority of them are like the biodegradable now.
Biodegradable.
Thank you. And but it also doesn't take more than 3 seconds to like snuff it out and put it somewhere that you can either throw it away later or walk somewhere that it's not going to be on the ground. It's going to be like I always tell people, it's like if you're worried about it, snuff it out, and if you're worried about it reigniting, just put it on top of the trash can,
Hmm.
and somebody will put it in there later. If not, it's going to go right next to the trash can, and the people who are cleaning that, one of the first spots they're going to clean is around the trash can because they're going to have to go clean out the trash cans instead of doing the entire parking lot. So if it's at least contained in one area, it's a lot easier to deal with, and it's
Yeah.
not terribly difficult. But if you want a non, just you don't want a bad future like that, you have to start small today
Yeah.
and promote it. Get other people involved with what you're doing and have fun with it. Like when you for all the kids out there who are walking to school, on your way to school, grab before you leave, grab like a Walmart bag, like a or a shopping bag or whatever, and pick up trash on your way to school. And then other people that you walk with, same thing. They might not actually, you may find something kind of cool with it too. And if you really wanted to do it for yourself, tell your teacher about it, and you might actually get some community service hours, which will help you on college applications. So there's a way to do stuff. People just don't do it. Anyway, Fern Gully moves on 2-1 to the next round. David starts us off. David, is it Real Steel or Drumline?
Uh, Another two films I have not seen. Um, I'll I'll just go with Real Steel just for the hell of it.
Real Steel gets a vote. Audience, by the way, is going to go for Drumline off the situation, which sucks because I'm a fan of both of these movies. Um, Real Steel is a dad movie. I appreciate dad movies. Dads are not portrayed well in movies in general, and it's not a good look, especially for dads like myself who try to aim better than we actually are. Drumline, I enjoyed the movie more than the storyline itself. If it was a better storyline, it would have been a better movie. But I'm also a fan of percussion instruments. Going to drumline at the drumline competition for like college games, especially your homecoming games, where they have the entire drumline competitions. It's hard not to get involved with stuff like that because you literally feel it. It's a percussion based system. You feel it, and the vibrations. I hate to say this, but make you feel good. So it's one of those things. But it's a dad movie. I'm gonna go with a dad movie off this one. Real Steel gets my vote and the win. Drumline for Nancy is at 30. Says this is a movie that I feel like I have seen, but I don't remember anything. No. So doesn't really get a good bit for her. Real Steel moves on 2-1 to the next round. Audience. Yeah, audience starts us off. It is either Armageddon or Independence Day. In a 23 vote difference, Independence Day gets that vote. I'm going to give it to Independence Day as well. Independence Day was a movie that about the time that July 4th hit, even if it was on July 4th, me and my grandmother, who is no longer with us anymore, would sit down and watch this movie. It was a tradition. So even in the feels, I enjoy this movie. And I'm not a huge fan of Will Smith in general. I'm much like Harvey off of that one. But I enjoy a lot of the one-liners in this movie. The entire thing about like $50,000 for a hammer line was still I still use that every once in a while. So it gets my vote. David, finish us up.
So here's the thing: I don't like either of these films. First off, I um, first off, Armageddon. I do not like Michael Bay one bit. I think that he tends to focus more on spectacle than story, but by
Mhm.
doing so, he makes a spectacle seem like it's a passing fad. Like, have you ever have you ever seen like one of the later Transformer movies and you see like a really cool explosion, but you're like, I've seen I've seen those like 1,000 times already. Um, in terms of Independence Day, it's one of the better Roland Emmerich's films, but I'm not a big fan of Roland Emmerich either. I don't even like his films in sort of a so bad's good kind of sense, like what everyone did with Moonfall. Um, I think if I had to choose one of these, I would have to go with Independence Day.
She moves on 3-0 to the next round. Armageddon for Nancy off this one. She writes, quote unquote, "Oh God, where do I begin on how stupid this movie is? I still don't get why so many people love this film. Come at me, I don't care. At least it's not Bay's worst film, but the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies are better, and that's saying something."
No, I absolutely 100% agree with Nancy on this one.
Number 32, by the way, for everybody out there. So it was ranked the worst movie on today's list. I start this one off. It is either going to be Air Force One or Die Hard. I'm gonna tell you right now. I don't care. Again, I'm a entire Nancy. I don't care. Come at me on this one. Die Hard is a Christmas movie,
No, I absolutely agree with you 100%. And,
and for
and in
people
my opinion, it's probably one of the best Christmas films out there.
who say it's not a Christmas movie, I will tell you this: my justification on what is a Christmas movie and what is not a Christmas movie. If you can take out everything that's Christmas about it, and it doesn't, if it doesn't affect the plot, and it doesn't affect any of the actual what people are talking about in the movie, it is not a Christmas movie. Okay. However, Die Hard, it affects the reasons they're there. It affects what they're what they're saying, like the actual words of what they're saying, and it has major plot things due to the time period of when they're actually doing it. However, It's a Wonderful Life, where people say, "Oh yeah, that's a Christmas movie." Not a Christmas movie. It has absolutely no bearing on Christmas. It has more bearing on New Year's than Christmas, because at the end of the movie they do sing "Old Lang Syne," which is a New Year's song, but not a Christmas song. So it's a New Year's movie, but not a Christmas movie. So, so to say Die Hard is more of a Christmas movie than It's a Wonderful Life, by those standards, it's unfortunate but true. And I'm just gonna go ahead and leave it at that. Air Force One. I want. I'm a firm believer that if you want a celebrity to eventually be president, I would like, for instance, The Rock. If you ever want The Rock to be president, I want The Rock to remake Air Force One and play the president. Play Harrison Ford's role on this one, just as a precursor to him becoming president. Because I think he could do it, and two, I wouldn't mind a remake of Air Force One, especially in today's climate, because it may actually put a little bit more of a better light on the American presidency than what we currently have. And I'm not going to get into politics, but it is what it is. I enjoy both movies, but movie for movie rewatchability, I would much rather rewatch Air Force One than Die Hard. So I'm going to go with Air Force One on this particular one. David, is it Air Force One or Die Hard?
For me, it's Die Hard. I do like Air Force One. I just think that Die Hard is just an all round better film.
Okay. Audience, by the way, in a 30 vote difference, is going to be going for Die Hard as well. Die Hard will be moving on. Nancy writes on. There's actually not a big difference between these two movies, but number 17, Air Force One, Harrison Ford, the original Keanu Reeves and Liam Neeson. Shout out to Harrison Ford off of that one. Die Hard 2-1 moves on, faces another 2-1 as well. David starts us off. David, is it Signs or Unbreakable?
Wow. I I I could see that that you wanted to put two really good M Night Shyamalan films up against each other. Um, and so here's the thing: I love both of these films. They're very different films, but um, but but for me, I actually have to go with Unbreakable mainly because um, it's one of those films where if you could probably write a whole book about it, like the presentation, the story, the acting, even the twist at the end. They're all like film study level. Science is a good movie, especially a movie regarding a person trying to find faith. I just don't think that if that that shot for shot, it's put as good as Unbreakable.
Audience, in a 17 vote difference, we'll be going for Signs off of this one. I'm going to go for Unbreakable. I agree with you. I would love to see a comic book adaptation, not a comic book itself, but an actual comic book style movie adaptation, but more of a like a black and white Dick Tracy type situation.
Yeah.
Apparently, they're coming out with a Spider-Man version of that too in the next couple of years.
Yep.
I don't know I can't remember who's going to play him, but I think I think it'd be cool to watch. Shout out to Bruce Willis, by the way.
Oh
'Cause,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
he's going through some serious shit right now, and I have a feeling that he's probably not going to last the rest of the year.
Yeah, honestly, when I heard about Bruce Willis's health issues, that actually broke my heart.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'm. This is gonna sound callous, and I apologize. But considering all the stuff that he's done in the past, and some of the bad decisions that he's had in the past, health wise, smoking, drinking, a whole
Hmm.
bunch of other stuff, especially the smoking. Drinking you can do on your own thing, but smoking that's a major thing. I'm surprised that he's going out this way instead of like the Marlboro Man
Yep.
type thing. Uh, so, but either way, shout out to him because that's going to be somebody. I think Bruce Willis is going to be my Gene Hackman because Gene Hackman, which we will be talking about him in a couple of weeks. Gene Hackman broke me when he died
Hmm.
because he's been in so many really. One of my favorite movies of all time is The Quick and the Dead, and which also has Russell Crowe and uh, Sharon Stone, Leonardo DiCaprio is in it. Uh, I can't remember the guy's name, but the guy who played Saw is in it as well for a small beat. There's It's a really good movie, but it also has him in it, and I think Bruce Willis is going to be up on that kind of echelon,
Hmm.
if not farther. Not for me, but for other people
Yeah.
on that entire thing, as far as breaking people's hearts. So, Unbreakable gets my vote and the win off of this one. Um, David, or sorry, Signs comes in at number 6, but it's the only one where she didn't really have anything to say about it. So, but that's where it was. Unbreakable moves on. David starts us off. Going from a from another going from a Bruce Willis movie to another Bruce Willis movie. Is it The Sixth Sense or Lake Placid?
Um, I'd have to go with Sixth Sense, mainly because I've seen Lake Placid once, but it didn't really leave that much of an impression on me. Sixth Sense, I think, is one of the great. I wouldn't necessarily say supernatural thrillers, but definitely one of the great the great psychological thrillers.
Audience in this one between Lake Placid and Sixth Sense in a 28 vote difference. Sixth Sense gets that one, so we'll be moving on. I'm gonna go with Lake Placid off of this one because Lake Placid has one of my favorite movie lines of all time, and that is, "If I had a dick, this is where I would tell you to suck it." And it's not one of my favorite lines because of the verbiage. It's one of my favorite lines because of who says it. And for everybody out there who doesn't know, that is one of my favorite Betty White lines of all time.
That was actually a funny line.
That was wielding the shotgun and everything else, man. Anyway, Sixth Sense will be moving on, so Lake Placid stays here. 31 for Nancy off of this one. It says Betty White was a national icon, but this movie can go get eaten by an alligator. Uh, 2-1 faces 3-0 in the next round. Next up, uh, audience starts us off on this one. It is either Tombstone or The Rock. And Tombstone gets that in a 35 vote difference, so a pretty large one. I I enjoyed Tombstone. It was a good movie, but I also consider it really it's too long. They could have cut out a solid 20 to 30 minutes of that movie and it would have been better. But I also live in a day now where people want their stuff and they want it now. They don't want to wait for it. So it maybe just be a thing of the time. The Rock, I I'm gonna go with The Rock on this one, uh, because it is it's such a weird combination between Nicolas Cage and Sean Connery that it worked. And Nicolas Cage's his one-liners are so cheesy. And the simple fact, it's like That's you. You're the Rocket Man. Before he goes, it's just and those entire green beads coming out. When this movie was famous, there was when this movie was all big and everything else. There was an entire among my friend group and I. We were talking about them looking like anal beads. The only problem is that we were young enough not to know where anal beads actually were. That's but I still remember that, and it gets my vote. Tie breaking decision there, David. Is it The Rock or Tombstone?
So here's the thing. Even though that I did an entire spiel about how much I hate Michael Bay, Bay when we talked about Armageddon, I'm actually going to have to go with The Rock because even though that this is a Michael Bay film, I loved Nick Cage and Sean Connery in this film. That it kind of I wouldn't necessarily say neglected or and anything that Michael Bay did, but more made them less noticeable because the focus is less on Michael Bay's directing and more on the characters.
Well, and I think that might have been in his earlier run too. So he could have been focusing more on the actual story beat instead of the actual what you can do with scenes. And now that
Mhm.
he's just gotten to the point that he's so far in the opposite direction that it just is what it is. I do appreciate that. It's actually we might one of these days do like a Michael Bay tournament just just to see all the in retrospect all the movies that he's done and how different they actually are from day one to day now. But The Rock moves on. Tombstone, by the way, at number 20 for Nancy says, honestly, of the details of this one are fading into the other 90s westerns. I watched it when I was younger, but it needs to be rewatched. She she wrote own instead of one, and it completely threw me off on that one. But yeah, Tombstone stays in round one. The Rock moves on. Last up in round one, I start us off. It is either going to be Avatar, no, the blue people, or Dangerous Minds. I didn't like Avatar. I think that it was cool for the first 6 months, and then it was like, all right, it kind of wore off. But Dangerous Minds, as a lover of as a lover of teachers in general, and everything that happened during that movie, even uh, "Gangster's Paradise" by Coolio being the unofficial theme song of that movie, I'm gonna go with Dangerous Minds. It's a damn good movie. Anybody else out there who hasn't seen it, I guarantee you've seen Avatar because it was one of the top uh, watched movies of all time in theaters. It got the biggest box office, and then it went back to theaters just so it could reclaim the top spot again.
Yeah, which honestly I thought was kind of bullshit.
I thought it was funny. I'm like sitting there going, it's like, are you really have that little of an ego, or not so little? Sorry, is your ego that fragile to have to do this? Just,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Dangerous Minds. David, is it Dangerous Minds or Avatar?
So here's the thing. I think that Dangerous Minds is way overhated and Avatar is way too loved. I do not understand the appeal of Avatar beyond the spectacle of seeing it in a film. I feel like if you were to take out the visuals of it and and watch it and at a home and just focus on the story, it's one of those films where it's like it's difficult to justify watching at home. Um, hell, it was even difficult to justify watching it in the theater, in my opinion. I actually saw this film shortly after it broke the 2 billion mark, and when I saw it, I was like, okay, I don't get this. I really don't get this. This feels like Blue Pocahontas. With Dangerous Minds, I pretty much love that movie straight from uh, straight from the from the beginning, where you start to hear Gangster's Paradise, all the way to the end. And I feel like more people should watch that film. So my vote goes to Dangerous Minds.
Gets the vote and the win. Audience was also going to go for Dangerous Minds off of this one in a 10 vote difference. Nancy for Avatar before it leaves at number 9, so higher ranked. When this movie first came out, I adored it. Thought it was so incredible that as time has passed, while I applaud it for being very beautiful and revolutionary in the film industry, I do think it's a bit overrated. It's Ferngully mixed with Pocahontas in space. So that's, there you go. Oh, and by the way, for everybody out there, um, David did not know what Nancy said before the show started. This is
Yeah, I
completely.
yeah, this is completely fresh material. I had no idea that Nancy would ever say that.
And she did send it to me like during this week. However, I'm sorry, I didn't actually read it beforehand. I just noticed that she sent me to it because it's been a busy week on my end too. So, Dangerous Mind moves 3-0 to the next round. Be right back right after this break. I need to stop drinking pop when I'm on the show because this stuff's making me burp. But I don't have any water down here, so I get to talk to some pretty incredible people doing this show and the other shows that I do. Today's guest is David B. on this one, and I say that because the other David, uh, Angus, is here often enough, and so I wanted to give the change in that one. David, how you doing there, sir?
I'm doing great. I kind of wasn't expecting to be to be the only person on here alongside you, but I'm honestly having a great time here.
Yeah, and I think we might move to this format because we were talking before the show started about this, and I enjoy the one-on-ones. You get a little bit deeper into uh, the film, the the nuances of the actual conversations, stuff like that, by just having a one-on-one conversation, rather than you'd have with a conversation with a whole bunch of people. A whole bunch of people, don't get me wrong, is a lot more jovial and everything else. Depending who you're with, sometimes you have that one asshole in the group that just brings it down. But
Yeah.
this is fun too, which is why I love this show. I welcome more people, uh, but to be honest, I'm just as I'm just as glad to have a one-on-one conversation with having the third person, the audience get their vote, and then of course the person who filled out my list during the week to have the entire tie-breaking decision, if need be, if the pass the parcel vote. So it just kind of worked out, and it wasn't something I actually planned. But in the podcasting world, it's very fluid. So sometimes you got to think on your feet. Anyway, not trying to wax poetic on that one, but can you tell people where you're from and what you do and why you're why you are who you are?
So I live in central New York State. I don't want to dox my exact location, but but I'm actually one part meteorologist and one part historian. And my and my specialty as a historian focuses not just on film, but also on anime. The last time I was up on this podcast, I suggested 8 anime films. I think
And
only
you
one of them.
won.
Yes, I did, and that actually surprised me because if I
Surprised the hell
remember
out of me.
correctly, only one film actually made it to the second bracket, which honestly I was sort of expecting that to happen because a lot of my picks were kind of like there were some picks that a lot of people were aware of, which is probably why Akira won. But a lot of them were kind of obscure or just straight up bad. Like I remember um, recommending Project Aiko and Psychic Wars. I knew for a fact that nobody knew those films and they weren't going to get past the first round, which is exactly what happened.
And we did that for the audience vote. The audience vote only one movie out of your eight went through to the next round, and it wasn't the one that won the the bastard version of it. The one that went to the second round on the audience vote was the Blood the Last Vampire,
Yeah.
which looks intriguing. I've never seen it. I'm not a huge anime fan. We discussed this on the show as well. We also discussed it last week as well because we were talking about um, oh talk about Ponyo last week. Not Ponyo, Spirit Away. We're talking about Spirit Away
Yeah.
last week, and I made a comment about not really being an anime fan. I enjoy the beauty of it, but it's just not. It's just not my type of storytelling
Hmm.
type thing. Nothing against it. Like I have. It's not like I'm trying to be tribalistic on the entire thing. It's just people have stuff they like and stuff they just don't really jive with, and that happens to be one of the things I don't really jive with. It was a good show. That particular bracket was a good show. It's out there now for people who want to go check that one out as well. And it, but the winner surprised me because there was a lot of good movies on on that list. Back to the Future was there. I thought that was going to be a front runner for the same one. I'm surprised Cats went as far as it did.
Yeah. Yeah. I kept voting for it mainly as a troll,
Yeah,
but because that story that I told that on that show was 100% true. I really did a double feature between that and Star Wars Episode 9, and I was absolutely terrified from start to finish.
but no, that and your character. Speaking of that, your character on the show is Lumiere. Lumiere.
Charles Lumiere.
Okay. I'm not going to try to pronounce that because I'm going to offend a whole bunch of French people.
It's okay.
You want to tell us about about your character?
Yes. He was he's a demonologist who kidnapped Angus and Dr. Jeremiah and held them at the Vatican. But Angus actually burnt down the Vatican to escape. So my character ended up getting excommunicated um, from the Catholic Church and ended up becoming like a demon hunter. So so pretty much all throughout season two, I've basically been a thorn in his side, almost in a comedic way, to the point where I believe that we were reviewing Blues Brothers 2000. Every single person just wanted to kill me. It was actually in a point where I was just in a separate cell away from everybody, just so I had a chance to survive.
I actually get to make my debut on that show coming up, and I'm looking forward to it. But I'm a little apprehensive about it too because I've never really had the experience of doing a improv stuff before. Luckily, um, David said that I can play myself and just kind of roll with the punches type thing.
Yeah,
I'm still playing a character, but I'm not playing. I I'm playing the character that I actually am in real life, and that is uh, like the the boss person for the actual channel.
mm,
So, which is the role that I do, but character wise, I don't know how it's going to turn out, but I'm looking forward to it. So,
yeah. I actually had a relatively easy time getting into it because even though I'm not an improv guy, I'm more of like a writing things beforehand kind of person. That's basically what I did. I basically developed this whole backstory from my character, presented it to am I allowed to say David Patterson's name, or am I
yeah, that's
supposed?
fine.
Okay,
He's
so
on the show all the time talking about his character, and he'll go back and forth throughout the
okay, so so
voices.
so I basically presented it to Patterson, and I basically just used that as a baseline to progress my character forward. It's almost like D&D in a way.
which spoiler alert for everybody out there as well. David, among others, will be doing a D&D podcast pretty soon, coming out later this fall. So look forward to that one as well. I haven't heard it yet, but I trust them to know what they're doing because they've done a good job with the entire PF Jeremiah and his infernal roommate. So I'm looking forward to that. And if you're a D&D fan or just want to explore new avenues in life, I would make sure to check that one out as well. Oh, okay. Welcome back for round two off of this one. It looks like David starts us off on this one. David, is it Muppets Christmas Carol or Ferngully?
Um, Muppets Christmas Carol, mainly because I still think that Ferngully's mad. Well, Car- Muppets Christmas Carol is probably one of the best iterations of Christmas Carol out there.
Looks like the audience agrees with you in a 13 vote difference off of that one. Muppets Christmas Carol gets another vote. I'm going to go with Muppets on this one as well. Um, I'm not against it. Like I'm not against the movie. It's an okay movie. Again, a six a 6 to 7 for me is still a really high mark because I judge movies harshly. I always have. Uh, I we were talking last week about I can't remember what movie it was, but we were talking about how for what the movie was, it was almost perfect, and a lot of people have called it the absolutely perfect. They've called it perfect for what it is too. There's no, it's not trying to reach anything that it's not. It's not trying to go. It's not trying to punch down. It's not trying to do anything else. It's exactly what the movie should be, and it was absolutely flawless. I wish I could remember what it was, and I'm gonna make myself mad later on, um, talking about it. But so getting a 6 in my book is still pretty high. But I agree too because it's one of those things like we were talking about the Princess Bride, and if anybody would ever remake the Princess Bride, it would have to be like Muppets Christmas Carol, where there's one person who's human in the entire movie, but everybody else is made of Muppets.
I kind of agree with that sentiment because the the Princess Bride in of itself feels like it's almost like a filmed play, if that sort of makes sense. So if you're going to remake it, do do it with either Muppets or puppets, or get Jim Henson Productions up on board.
I personally I don't want Princess Bride touched, even in that retrospect. But if you're gonna do it, I think the only way to do it is to go so often left field that you're going to offend everybody at the same time. Therefore, you're not going to offend anybody
Yeah,
because it's just it is what it is. So, but the Muppets gets my vote as well. I do like Ferngully, but not against that. 3 and out to the next round. Audience starts us off on this one. It is either going to be National Treasure. Oh, before I forget Ferngully. Uh, I know it's around here somewhere. Looks like number 8. Ferngully. Uh, Nancy says the 90s was a fever dream of children's movies and TV shows. This one definitely on the top of the list. This is a Tim Curry role that, while well done, and he has a killer song, Haunted My Dreams. Robin Williams is perfectly chaotic, as always, with some hilarious quotes. So, shout out to Ferngully on that one. Audience, National Treasure or Independence Day? In a 2 vote difference, so really close, Independence Day actually gets that one, which surprises the piss out of me. I'm a huge fan of Independence Day. We all know this, but National Treasure is one of those movies that has such a rewatchability factor. Even randomly too. If you want to randomly put on a movie just to watch, not watch the background, but listen to in the background, this is the background movie as well. it's fun to actually sit down and watch, but it's also fun just to listen to because there's some off the wall moments when it comes to that. It is a tie breaking decision there, David. Is it National Treasure or Independence Day?
I'm gonna have to go with National Treasure just because I think that any Nick Cage films um, pretty much beats any Roland Emmerich film.
All right. So National Treasure moves on 2-1. Nancy says for Independence Day. Anyone remember the trailer they had for this movie? That was just a White House blowing up. Yeah, that emotionally scarred me for the emotionally scarred 5 or 6 year old me so bad I didn't want to see this film until I was in my 20s. Glad I did though. It was a fun time with some iconic lines and moments. I still say that um, that speech the president does
Mhm.
is probably one of my favorite like page and a half monologues that I would love to do if I was still in high school theater. That would be a monologue I would love to do because it's a
Yeah,
monologue that you don't have to deal with like actual outside interactions. It starts with a mistake, like a mistake, like a planned mistake, because the mic doesn't work right. So once you get over that mistake, the entire thing goes a lot better because you already have the quote unquote mess up that your brain needs to just relax you.
yep.
So it is almost I don't depending on how long you want to do it, it is almost a perfect monologue for that.
No, I absolutely agree, and you know that it's a perfect monologue when politicians nowadays pretty much repeat that word for word.
You know. Independence Day falls. National Treasure moves on 2-1 to the next round. I start this one off. It is either going to be Unbreakable or the Kingsman. I'm going to go for Kingsman off of this one. I enjoyed Unbreakable, but I enjoyed Kingsman so much more. There was comedic moments in there. There was action moments in there. There was just it kind of it. I'm a James Bond fan because I love the actual calm and cool and collected moments that James Bond has. But that bar scene where he just walks up to the door and locks it and then beats everybody's asses and he still just walks out like a friggin' boss, like nothing happened, is great. And I love stuff like I want to see I would love to talk to the person who actually choreographed that entire thing. Cuz that would be a fun conversation. So, I'm going to go with Kingsman off of that one. David, is it Kingsman or Unbreakable?
Um, this is actually a tough one because while Kingsman, as you said, is a more fun movie, I think that Unbreakable is probably a, a how do I say this? A film that feels more important. It's sort of like com- comparing Citizens Kane with um, uh,
First Bueller's Day Off.
yes, thank you. They're both fantastic films, but one feels more important. Um, I think I'm gonna have to go with Unbreakable.
I agree with your sentiment. I do, but I'm also the person. By the way, I don't like Ferris Bueller's Day Off either, but I can say that Ferris Bueller's Day Off is a better movie than Citizen Kane.
Hmm.
Like I don't, I've seen Citizen Kane, but it's also one of those movies that I don't know what it was like back when it came out. Maybe people didn't really understand the idea of a twist ending, but I didn't know that there was a twist ending in the movie when I watched it. I watched it for like film class,
Yeah,
and I didn't know anything about it coming in. Within a half hour of that movie, I could tell you how that movie was gonna end. Like it just it wasn't as it didn't have the gravitas that it says it does.
yeah.
As far as being a groundbreaker, I understand that, but so is a shovel, and you put that next to a forklift, you can tell which one you're gonna move more earth with.
Yeah, and I can understand that comparison because Citizen Kane was basically really ahead of its time, but that time was in the 40s. And when you compare it to films nowadays that have built on the the, the technical achievements that Citizen Kane did, it's almost a no contest.
I do find it funny that you put in that your comparison between your that you brought up Citizen Kane on this one, which again has the entire twist. I'm not going to tell people out there what the twist ending is, because even for a movie that's 80 years old by this point, more than that actually, it's still an ending, and I don't want to ruin it for you if you haven't seen it. But Unbreakable also has a twist ending at the end of it too.
Yeah.
So bringing up that particular movie in this context, is a nice little callback. Kingsman moves on 2-1 to the next round. Nancy says for Unbreakable, I do not like M Night Shyamalan. I'm gonna say this the way I say it. I do not like M Night Shyamalan Ding Dong, but I do really like this movie and its two spin-offs, Split and Glass. I've never seen Split and Glass, by the way. Uh,
Split is a fantastic movie. Glass, the first 20 minutes is a fantastic short movie. It goes downhill really quickly after that.
so it's like Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Kind of. But
Except
like
it's the exact opposite. The second, the last 20 minutes of Rocky Horror Picture Show are terrible. Beginning of Rocky Horror Picture Show is great.
yeah,
Oh, Kingsman though moves on. Uh, I think R started that one off. So David starts this one off. David, is it Fight Club or The Rock?
I'm gonna have to go with The Rock because even though that I enjoy Fight Club, I feel like The Rock is a more enjoyable movie. If that sort of makes sense.
In a 4 vote difference, Fight Club gets that particular one, which makes it a tie-breaking decision and coming down to me. I see this is my problem. The Rock, as cheesy as it is, I enjoyed the movie more, but the Fight Club has had more of uh, a lasting effect on pop culture, with iconic lines about how we don't talk about Fight Club type thing. The entire my one of my favorite lines with the entire I haven't been fucked like that since grade school.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of really solid lines in this movie, but I do like The Rock more. I really do. So I'm going to pass the parcel on this one, and I'm going to give it to Nancy. Uh, I'm going to give it to Nancy, and Nancy says between Fight Club and The Rock, Fight Club will be getting that vote from Nancy. And because Fight Club's in the top 10, The Rock is somewhere in the 20s at 23. One of Michael Bay's better works, though that's not saying much. I forgot Nick Cage was in here, but that would explain why my brain is foggy on the plot. Now I don't know what she means by foggy on the plot. Of the reasons why it's foggy on the plot, I don't know if she was staring at Nick Cage the entire time and just missed the movie,
Might
or
have been.
it might have been. So it just kind of depends on what exactly she meant off of that particular one. Fight Club moves on. Uh, Audience starts us off. Audience, it is either between Real Steel or The Princess Bride in a 40, 44 vote difference off of this one. Trying to do simple math in my head. In a 44 vote difference off of this one, Princess Bride gets the audience vote. I I'm gonna go for Princess Bride as well. I enjoy Real Steel. Again, it's a dad movie. Majority of the times, I will vote for dad movies. However, Princess Bride is technically a grandpa movie as well. So, um, for people out there complaining that I'm throwing away the dad vote on here, I'm not, because grandpa movie and grandpas were once dads, and his dad's not there, so he's taking care of his dad's role in the thing. He even talked about how he read the book to his dad when he was young. So stuff it. Princess Bride
Uh,
gets my vote.
I guess it's a 3-0 Princess Bride.
Bride 3 and out to the next round. Real Steel set at number 24. Real Steel, aka Rock'em Sock'em Robots the movie. I hear that all the time, and I've never appreciated that particular comment. But Princess Bride moves on. I start this one off. It's either Predator or Die Hard. I just for the holiday spirit, I'm gonna go for Die Hard off of this one, just to piss off the people who don't believe Die Hard's a Christmas movie. Die Hard gets my vote. David.
I'm looking at my pick more along the lines of how I would like to see my heroes portrayed in films. Because when it comes to Predator, it almost feels like like the characters aren't really real people. They feel like like people who take way too much steroids and yeah, again, they just don't feel real. Like Bruce Willis in Die Hard, you could believe that this is a real guy who just ended ended up in a really bad situation.
So your final vote would be?
Die Hard.
All right, 3 and out. Die Hard moves on to the next round. Predator, by the way, ended up getting number 19 for Nancy off of this one. It says, while I do appreciate this film, I have always been more into Alien. But Alien got beat out by Predator earlier, so probably happy about that one. Die Hard moves on 3-0. David starts us off. David, is it The Sixth Sense or Ready or Not?
The Sixth Sense. I think that what M Night Shyamalan was trying to do with The Sixth Sense, he did a much better job than the producers of Ready or Not.
Audience agrees with you in a 25 vote difference off of that one. Sixth Sense gets their vote. I'm going to go for Ready or Not off of this one. One I just enjoyed. I enjoyed Ready or Not a lot more than The Sixth Sense. It also has a much better rewatchability factor. I always tell people you watch Sixth Sense twice, unless you really enjoy the movie. The first time is because to watch the movie. The second time is if you didn't catch the entire ending and you want to watch it a second time so you can catch why you didn't catch it the first time. Uh, and I can say too, it's like Sixth Sense has one. I can't say that Ready or Not has any memorable lines in it, but Sixth Sense has like that one memorable moment in it. Signs was
The
the same way. Signs has like a 3-second clip that sums up the entire thing, and that's when they walk past the thing, causing trauma for everybody at that particular time period. But the Sixth Sense has the entire "I see dead people" thing,
yeah,
and that's pretty much it. Everything else is just your average everyday movie, but that's the most memorable thing that has stuck in pop culture's wooden teeth the longest time. That it's just it is what it is. So my vote goes for Ready or Not. Sixth Sense gets the vote and the win. at number, it looks like 14. Nope. Number 13. Ready or not, according to Nancy, it is horror is not my cup of tea, but it is David's, and he convinced me to watch it with him. I was actually it was actually a pretty engaging movie, and I kind of liked it. And I will say, nothing is creepier than an old timey song playing on a record player of a massive mansion. And I also love her wedding dress. I loved her wedding dress after the movie,
Hmm.
stained with blood and guts and everything else. Um, it it was it was impressive. I mean, that's that's a dress to take a photo shoot in. 2-1. Sixth Sense moves on to the next round. Audience starts this one off. Finishes out round two. It is either Machete or Dangerous Minds. The audience says in an 11 vote difference, Dangerous Minds gets the audience vote. I'm gonna go with Machete on this one, mainly because I just like saying Machete. But this movie is so wild, and the fact like how his he got into acting. Like he walked up to a set and somebody needed an extra, and they asked him if uh, if he if he knew how to play a criminal, and he literally just got out of jail. He's like he's just like, yeah, I think I can do that. So I want to see him in more. I really do. Like I that might be another person that we bring back for one of the three wise men type thing next year. Machete gets my vote. Tie breaking decision. Uh, David, is it Machete or Dangerous Minds?
This one's a really tough decision. Mainly because I still feel like Dangerous Minds is way overhated. Um, but then again, Machete, it is just one of those fantastic B movies from one of the most talented directors of all time. I feel like I'm going to have to pass the partial. I can't pick between these two.
That's completely okay. Between Machete and Dangerous Minds, it's going to be Machete off of this one. Dangerous Mind comes in at number 22. Says, I'm ashamed to say I haven't seen this, but it's been added to my fall to be watched list. So we were talking about this. We did a teacher's bracket a couple weeks ago, and Miss Frizzle ended up winning this one. But uh, the teacher from Dangerous Minds, Lou Ann Johnson, I think it was, ended up being in this tournament as well. So we got to talk about uh, talk about her a little bit and the accomplishments and everything else involving dealing with the inner city youth. And she wasn't originally a teacher. This was like a second coming of her and everything else. So shout out to the movie. Shout out to teachers everywhere. But Machete gets the vote and the win. 2-1 moves on to the next round. There are only 3 sweeps from round 2, and looks like only one of them has the ability for a pearl necklace. I'm going to love it if that particular movie gets to the finals and we have one pearl necklace versus another pearl necklace in the entire thing. And they're both fantastic movies. So we'll be right back right after this break. While we're down, I've been trying not to drink stuff while we're on the show because now my bottle is dented. And that will have to sustain me because apparently I have a coke problem. Okay. Um, I am your host, Freddie Fisher. I don't only host this show, but I host multiple other shows. Number one, of course, Bracket Bastards. But if you don't know what this show is by now, I apologize. But you're going to have to stick around to the end to figure out who the winner is. Central Booking is a pro wrestling podcast where each and every other week, my good friend Kevin and I have a tendency to go on, and sometimes we have guests, sometimes we don't. Sometimes it's just two of us, and sometimes we just try to wing the entire thing. But every time we do that, we come up with a different topic. Some upcoming topics for this particular one. This upcoming week, so Wednesday, we're recording a show where we'll be going through our top 10 list of favorite wrestling theme songs of all time. And out of all the hundreds of wrestlers that's been there, the most iconic songs, we may cross references. We may have a couple of them that are the same on each list, but you never really know. After that, there's a 40 woman rumble from. I'm going to try to make it an all-time rumble as well, so try to have some really intriguing women from a whole bunch of different companies into one rumble. And the week after that, we are talking about the same thing but with men, and try to see what kind of intriguing matchups we can come up with on top of that. So that's what we do over at Central Booking. It's a wrestling podcast made by fans for fans that we can just fantasy book to our heart's content. The Recast and Call is a show where we take a movie made before 2000 and recast it with current stars. We just got done doing Arsenic and Old Lace. It is currently out now. Treasure Planet before that, and then Back to the Future, Spaceballs, Star Wars. We have done a whole bunch of different episodes. 25 or so movies by this point we have done, and sometimes we get some serious hate for them. Men in Tights is probably, if you ever want to go look at a show, Men in Tights is probably the show to go watch, go listen to get your feet wet, no pun intended. Bastards Backstage is a show where I go one-on-one with a guest. There's 20 questions, but millions of answers. Every guest gets the same set of questions, but everybody's a little bit different, so you never know what's gonna be coming out. Between that and, of course, PF Jeremiah and his infernal roommate as well, which is the only show on this list that I do not host, but I hopefully will be a part of coming up on a future episode. Check that out and more. Welcome. Oh, sorry. Voice cracked. I do need something to drink. All lifelines are on the board. However, these next 4 votes are the last time you can pass a parcel or steal a vote.
I think I already did pass my parcel.
Yeah, but since there's just 2 of us, you can.
Okay.
It's an unlimited thing. And
Okay.
yeah, you just passed it. But yeah, because when there's just 2 of us, I try to get the audience vote involved as much as possible.
Okay.
But it is what it is. But however, steal a vote is these next 4 matchups are the only time to actually use them.
Okay.
Oh. All right, so the audience started that one off, which means I start this one off, I believe. Okay. Welcome back for round 3 and beyond. It looks like I get to start this one off, and we'll be starting off in the top corner. It is either Muppets or The Princess Bride off of this one. I enjoyed The Muppets. It's a good movie, but The Princess Bride is, again, one of my top 10 films of all time, and to even be mentioned on that list for me is absolutely crazy. It gets my vote. David, is it Princess Bride or Muppets?
I have a sneaking suspicion that Princess Bride got the audience vote, and I know I could be a total dickhead right now and actually steal their vote to just take out the Princess Bride.
I mean, you
But
could.
but because but because I love the Princess Bride so much, I'm not going to do that.
That would. Are you still voting for Muppets or the Bride though?
Princess Bride.
Okay. I would like to say that with that vote, the Princess Bride is the only one left for the possibility of a pearl necklace. So keep that in mind. Pride. 3 and out. David starts us off on this one. David, is it The Sixth Sense or Kingsman?
I'm going to steal your vote and go for The Sixth Sense.
Which means it's also going to be another 3 and out because the audience went for The Sixth Sense as well. So realistically, you didn't have to steal my vote. But again, it's one of those Star Wars things. It's a decent movie, but I don't think it's as good as people hype it up to be. But Sixth Sense moves on 3-0 to the next round. Audience starts us off. It is either going to be National Treasure or Die Hard. And between these, National Treasure and Die Hard, it is a 12-vote difference for Die Hard. Oddly enough, I don't appreciate that. I'm going to go with National Treasure. National Treasure gets my vote. It is not worth to steal a vote. However, so David, tiebreaker decision, is it National Treasure or Die Hard?
I feel like Die Hard is the better film between that and National Treasure, so I'm going to go with Die Hard.
Die Hard moves on 2-1 to the next round. Last up, I get to start us off on this one. And I am going to steal a vote. It is either going to be between Fight Club or Machete. And I'm going to go with Machete.
That's actually fascinating because if you didn't steal my vote, I would have gone with Machete.
Yeah. So I'm going to, and just for shits and giggles, then I'm going to go for Machete. I'm going to steal the audience vote.
Okay.
And the audience vote is actually not that bad. It's a 6 vote difference on that one. But I'm going to steal the audience vote. Is it Machete or Fight Club there, sir, officially?
I'm sorry.
What's your vote officially between those two?
Machete.
Okay. 3 now. Let me catch up on some stuff. Muppets for Nancy, because I'm sorry, Nancy, I completely forgot about this. Number 1 for Nancy off of this one, the best Christmas movie of all time. This is a hill that I'm willing to die on. Awesome music, check. Funny jokes, check. Michael Caine, check. Also, Rizzo and Gonzo sum up my marriage dynamic so well, it's like watching a home movie. National Treasure. At number 14, I think. Yep, number 14. One of the 2 Nick Cage movies that I do remember the details of. Fight Club. Is at number 10 for her. One of my favorite lines in all cinema is in this movie, and it's not the same as mine. Which, Nancy, you spelled my damn name wrong, by the way. Whoa, okay, you're firing your gun at an imaginary friend near 400 gallons of nitroglycerin. I still prefer mine. I'm just saying. Like my favorite line from this movie is so much better than that one. And screw you for spelling my name wrong. And of course, Kingsman at number 3, which is higher than I thought she'd be. I'm assuming we were talking about this the Secret Service specifically. This movie, which we are, by the way. The movie was amazing. I remember being blown away by the entire thing and how it did the spy genre in such a fun and bombastic way. The cast is amazing. The soundtrack, score, visuals, chef kiss. Golden Circle is good too, but not as good as the first one. And I feel like a prequel is missing some of the magic of the other 2. So, Is there a prequel to this movie? I didn't know there was.
Yeah. I think it's the Golden Circle. It takes like it's like back in the 1800s or something like that.
Well, there's one that's on the American side, but that's part two.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to check that out because I don't remember that one. So we're all cut up on this one. The final four. David starts us off. David, I'm gonna have you pick one of these movies. Is it Princess Bride, Machete, Die Hard, or Sixth Sense?
Um, it for me, it's between Princess Bride or Die Hard. Um,
Well, that's what we're gonna start off on.
okay.
So I need you to pick one of these movies and whatever that one is paired with. That's the matchup we're gonna start off on.
Okay. Let's start with the Princess Bride then.
Okay. Princess Bride, ironically enough, actually does start off with Die Hard. So, is it Princess Bride or Die Hard, there, sir?
I think I'm gonna blow my load for this
I
one.
was I was waiting on that. I didn't have it geared up, but I was waiting on that. Love that. David decided to blow his load on this one. Just means the audience vote starts us off on this one. The audience between Die Hard and Princess Bride in a 17 vote difference off of this one. Princess Bride gets that vote. Princess Bride is going to get my vote too. Again, one of my top 10 movies of all time. I still have problems with Die Hard in general, so it wouldn't have gotten my vote anyway. So Princess Bride will be moving on. Is it Die Hard or Princess Bride there, sir?
I'll just go with Die Hard just for the lulls.
So no possibility for a pearl necklace on this one. Bride moves on 2-1 to the next round. Die Hard is a possibility of third place. We'll be getting to that in a second. On the other side, audience starts us off. It is either the Sixth Sense or Machete. It's going to be the Sixth Sense in a 30 vote difference. So really, really long one. I'm going to go with Machete on this one. I find it funny to have a what you call a B movie in the finals off of this one.
Mhm.
Uh, but even as a B movie, it's such a fun movie. It really is, and having the Princess Bride and Machete would be such a an offset of movies for the finals. Just saying, Machete gets my vote off of this one. Tie breaking decision. Is it Machete or Sixth Sense?
You made a really good case for me choosing Machete, and I'm gonna go with Machete mainly because I I feel like even though that Sixth Sense does have its replay value, it's only really replayable if you didn't know the twist before it was going to happen. But with Machete, I can watch that movie literally once a week, maybe.
All right, so third place. I started us off, and then We'll catch up with Nancy here. It is either Die Hard or The Sixth Sense off of this one. Uh, I'm gonna go with Die Hard again, just to keep the Christmas spirit alive. Gets my vote. David, Die Hard, Sixth Sense.
I'm also going to go with Die Hard too. Again, again, it goes to that replayability factor. I can watch Die Hard literally every single day of December. But but if I watch Sixth Sense more than five times, I'm like, oh, okay, I know that this is gonna happen. I know this is gonna happen. I don't care anymore.
And it's not really Christmas until Hans Gruber falls from the tower. Audience vote in a 3 vote difference. So really close for third place on this one. Die Hard gets another vote, which means it is 3 now. for Die Hard for third place. Finals. It is either going to. We still have one more matchup on top of this, though. So, um, just making sure. Finals, which will face Men in Tights in the actual final one. It is either going to be Machete or Princess Bride. I'm gonna go with Bride off of this one. I enjoyed Machete. It's a damn good movie. It's fun to watch, but Princess Bride is one of those movies. One, it's a better movie. It's not a B movie. It's an actual classic. As a wrestling fan, having Andre the Giant in there as well is a big bonus. It's also one of these movies that you can watch over and over and over again and not get tired of. Even the scores, dude. Like the scores of this movie is fantastic. It's one of those things that they have the entire scores on Spotify. Like they did an actual album just of scores because it's just beautiful, beautiful music. And those are the type of stuff that if I'm cleaning the house or something, I may just have the scores going on, and I can picture the movie in my head. So I'm gonna go with Princess Bride off of this one. David, is it Princess Bride or Machete?
Okay, so I can already theorize that Princess Bride won the audience vote vote. So there's really no point in choosing Machete. But even if we weren't going to take that in the equation, I would still go with the Princess Bride. Um, it's not a perfect movie by any means, but it's one of those films that does everything correctly and does it very very well.
Well, I can tell you this: Princess Bride, sorry, Machete was tied for the second lowest ranked movie for as far as the audience goes.
Yeah. So this is the so we're 2 for 2 with shows that I've been on. We're one of the lowest ranking films in terms of the audience scores. Makes it to the finals.
The only other the only other one that vote went that low. There's two of them. There's one that didn't get a single vote in the entire tournament, and that was The Menu, which I understand that's a hard movie to watch. Um, but the only other movie that got one vote, much like Machete did, was Armageddon. So it wasn't a complete shut up, but to have Machete move on to the finals off of this one and facing Princess Bride is just a. It's one of those. It's it's one of those losing up type of things where to even be able to get to the finals is still really good.
Yep.
So there's that. Princess Bride does happen to move off on that one. Uh, I think you start this one off. So you start out the finals. It is either going to be, which means I can't blow my load. Damn it! I'm going last. That's the thing. It's like, and I was going to. I I just I wanted to play the sound. That's the only reason I wanted to blow my load to play the sound
Oh!
because I'm a fucking child. However, David starts us off on this one. David, is it Robin Hood Men in Tights or The Princess Bride?
Princess Bride. I I love Robin Hood Men Tights, but it does not hold a candle to the Princess Bride.
I have to look something up real quick because I don't have the audience score for this one. Uh, okay. So you're going for Bride off of this one in a looks like a 13 vote difference. The audience is also going to go for Princess Bride on this one. I am also going to go for Princess Bride on this one. So Men in Tights did not get a pearl necklace, and because of you, Princess Bride did not get a pearl necklace. So you're you're mean. Princess Bride
I
is my one of my favorite movies of all times, and you just decided to be a bastard.
Yeah.
Emotional damage.
Okay. Let's get back to this a little bit beforehand. Die Hard Die Hard for Nancy at number 15. Uh, Die Hard, a movie about family and reconnecting during the holiday season. Truly a Christmas film. So we got a third vote that Die Hard's a Christmas movie off of that one. Uh, the other one was The Sixth Sense at number 25. Again, I see 26 years worth of memes. I see dead people. Machete. That came in second place on today's show. Got 16. So the upper half, the bottom half of the top half of this one. You want to know what is more unhinged than Disney owning this movie? It takes place in the same narrative universe as Spy Kids.
I did hear about that. That one of the characters from Spy Kids actually plays the role in Machete.
And of course, The Princess Bride, today's winner of the entire bracket, actually. Princess Bride, the only remake of this movie that I will ever want to see is one with the Muppets and Carrie Elways playing the grandfather, perfect like buttercup breasts. If you know, you know. It'd be a pity to damage yours. Anyway, Princess Bride gets today's tournament vote, gets the entire vote. Beyond that, Men in Tights kind of goes the 1A route. Then Machete, Die Hard, and then The Sixth Sense. That is our show this week. Guys, you can find David at...
You can find me every so often at Dr. P.F. Jeremiah and his Infernal Roommate podcast. I am slated to come back onto the show in November, so check that out.
And of course, I'm your host, Freddie Fish. You can find me at that on Facebook. While you're on Facebook, check out Bracket Bats at the audience vote, where of course you can vote along with us every single week. We're revealing the scores all throughout today's show. If you want to be part of the actual listing like Nancy was today, go ahead and let me know, and I will see what we can do as far as that goes. If you want to know for any of the upcoming shows, next week we have a Jennifer Coolidge tournament. It's going to be a Sweet 16. Gene Hackman is after that, and then for 2 weeks we're doing Decades 1 and 2, which is going to be a full 64 tournament of one song from the top 10 of years between 1960 all the way up to 1960 to 2024. So it's going to be a fun trip off of that one. Talking about Bob's after that, and to kick off the Halloween season on the 19th of October, we're talking about the funniest horror movie kills, which should be a collaborative, and we should have some fun with that one. On Twitter, I'm at Fisher777. We're all at Bracket Pod. On Instagram, as always, you can find me at Can't Lick Me, not one word. I like to leave every single show with a quote. Today's quote is for our lovely ranker this week. That would be Nancy, and it is says, the main dangers in life are the people who want to change everything or nothing at all. And the reason why that is from Nancy, that is from a other famous Nancy known as Nancy Drew. So go check that one out as well. That is our show this week, guys. Check out next week as we are talking about the great and honorable, and I will forever know her as Stifler's mom, Jennifer Coolidge. Have a good time, guys.